Hello Bookish Fiends and welcome to another video. Today I want to share with you some of my spooky book recs for Halloween. So let's jump into it. The first spooky book rec I have is going to have to be We Used to Live Here by Marcus Cleaver. I think that this is the perfect spooky read for Halloween. It's full of chills, thrills, foreboding, dread, all the perfect things that make up a really atmospheric horror. And I definitely think that if you haven't read this yet, you should definitely add it to your spooky read list for Halloween. In this story, we learn about Eve. She's waiting for her partner Charlie to come home so they can enjoy a quiet Friday evening together when a mysterious family shows up at her doorstep asking if they can view the house because the father used to live there and he wants to show his family around. Reluctantly, she lets them inside so that they can view the house, and the chaos that ensues from the multitude of events that happen thereafter, it's like a slow descent into madness, and I just enjoyed every minute reading this book. Bonus points if you go all out and you create like a spooky atmosphere with the spooky vibes and like the horror music playing in the background with the perfect lighting and all of the cozy comforts. Perfect atmosphere to read this book in to get all the chills, thrills, and delights. So definitely add this to your list for Halloween reads. The next book I would like to recommend is Full Dark, No Stars by Stephen King. So this is a collection of short stories with King's signature ability to create chilling stories and tales that explore the darker elements of human nature. And this collection of short stories is no different from his work. It's superb and I loved it. Next spooky read that I would love to suggest for you for the Halloween season is going to be Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice. So I read this book a long time ago. It was one of my first books about vampires I was introduced to, and I just fell head over heels in love with Anne Rice and vampires and Lestat in general, and just ate all of that up with a spoon. So in the Interview with the Vampire, we follow Louis as he has been recently created and birthed by Lestat, and we see him grappling with his immortality and his transition into vampirism and his loathing that he has for Lestat and just how he is and how he sees him as like the ultimate villain and ultimate bad guy. And he does everything he can to separate himself from Lestat and establish his own life and figure out what really it is to be a vampire, what vampires are like. And he just goes on this journey to seek the answer to these questions that he has about who he is and who he now is. So definitely, if you have not read this book, check it out, give it a try, and now is the perfect time to read it, honestly. The next book I'd like to recommend is Dracula by Bram Stoker. So I recently finished this book this past month, and I loved it, and I can't believe that it took me so long to read this classic, because not only is it amazing, it was an awesome experience, and just I think everyone should read it. If you love vampires and you love vampire lore, you should definitely check it out. So in Dracula, we follow Jonathan Harker as he travels to Transylvania to meet the reclusive Count Dracula to finish the paperwork and the transfer of the property he purchased in London, England. But as he's staying there with him, he begins to discover some horrific instances, some suspicious and crazy wild things happen there, and he begins to realize Dracula is not who he seems and that he may have some sinister ulterior motives in play. And it's just an amazing story, perfect for Halloween season. You definitely should check it out and read it for Halloween. The next book rec is going to be Hidden Pictures by Jason Ricolac, and I recently finished this book as well, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So in this story, we follow Mallory Quinn as she is looking for a new fresh start after completing her recovery program. And her sponsor, Russell, recommends her to work for Ted and Carolyn Maxwell, babysitting their son, Teddy. And she lands a job. It's her dream job. She loves where she works. She loves Teddy as well, and is having a grand old time until Teddy begins to draw some very sinister, very suspicious, very creepy pictures that become more progressed and more detailed, and they all are depicting a woman being strangled, she's being drugged, and a hole is being dug in the ground, and she's being deposited in that hole. So her knowing the history of the cabin that she's staying in and the mysterious disappearance of Anna Garrett, she begins to link two and two together and suspects that Teddy is actually being haunted or possessed by the ghost of Anna Garrett, and she is depicting her final days. She is depicting what happened to her and how she was murdered so that she can finally receive and achieve justice. So trying to get to the bottom of all this, she works with her neighbor Mitzi and the landscaper Adrian to really piece together and uncover the truth of what is happening to Teddy so she can help him. Again, this is an amazing story. I really enjoyed it. It's perfect for Halloween. Definitely check it out if you haven't and add it to your Halloween TBR. The next book I would recommend that you read for Halloween is Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. So this book has it all. It has the spooks, the suspected haunting, ghosts, a haunted house. I don't know. I think it's perfect for the Halloween season and giving you the creepy vibes that you want. So this story follows Maggie Holt and her family as 25 years ago they moved into the mysterious Banbury Hall, and they only remained there for 21 days. On that final night, they fled the manor, never to return. Her father, Ewan Holt, decided to chronicle their experiences and write a book titled The House of Horrors, depicting all of the horrific events that transpired while they were in the house. The only issue is Maggie does not remember any of these things occurring or happening, and she begins to believe that her parents are lying about what happened that night, and she wants to know why. Many years has passed. Maggie has moved on with her life and built a business partnership where she renovates homes and flips houses. And she is settling her father's affairs after he passed away from cancer. And she discovers that he never sold Banbury Hall. He actually kept it, and now it is her possession. So determined to get to the bottom of what happened that night and uncover the truth, she decides to renovate and flip Banbury Hall and do some little detective work to figure out what happened that night. As eerie events begin to transpire and long-buried secrets come to the surface, Maggie is beginning to realize that uncovering the truth may be more costly than she could ever have imagined. Definitely, I know that Riley Sager is an author that is hit or miss for a lot of people, but I think that this is definitely a hit and you should check it out. Next book that I'm recommending for your Halloween reads is going to be Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young. Now this isn't necessarily like a creepy, horrific story, but it does give those nice witchy vibes, and it's very atmospheric, perfect for the fall season, just perfect for this time of year. In this story, Emery Blackwood's life is changed forever when her best friend Lily is found murdered, and her first love, August Salt, is accused of the murder, causing him to flee and to never return to the island. However, years later, Emery has achieved some kind of balance and some kind of peace in her life. She's operating the family business, which is a tea shop that also offers some tea leaves or tea reading, and she's kind of stable in her life. That is until August Salt decides to return, and it just upends everyone's life in the town. It upends Emery's life, causes her to feel a fluster of emotions, and it begins to have a domino effect in the town, triggering a lot of people to reopen old wounds and old suspicion. But August's presence opens up the town's dark history, causing some deep embedded secrets and revelations to come to surface. So if you love a little bit of mystery, some suspense, some intrigue, a little bit of romance, and a whole lot of witchy vibes, this is definitely going to be the perfect read for you. And the final book that I recommend for Halloween, although it's not really a spooky season book, it's not something that has chills, thrills, and all that good stuff. It's something that's very sinister and foreboding, and I think that if you love nonfiction and you like true crime that you'll get a kick out of, and that is Killers of the Flower Moon by David Grant. So in this story, we are following the true tale of the diabolical plan that was set in place to usurp the Osage Nation from the money that they earned from the discovery of oil being found on their land, and the eventual birth of the FBI as they investigate this case and work hard to reveal this plot, this evil conspiracy, and bring it to justice. So definitely, if you like true crime, if you like a lot of sinister, foreboding, people doing like fucked up stuff, this is definitely something that you're gonna enjoy, and that I think kind of falls in line with the spooky season. So those are all my recs for Halloween spooky reads that you should try out. Let me know, have you read any of these books? What books do you have on your TBR for this Halloween that you're going to read to enjoy the spooky season? And until I see you next time,